So our next guest is a bookstore owner, and we've had a couple. We're going to be having a few more, and we want to make sure as we go into the new year that people are aware of bookstores. Some of them are new, some of them are established, but we want people to support independent bookstores, independent Black bookstores, because it is definitely not easy to maintain, to open and maintain a bookstore just because of the times we live in. And I say that as a former brick and mortar store owner. So Janelle Brown, she's on, the microphone is on, but no camera so far. So,
Oh, but it's saying that Zoom isn't detecting my camera. So
okay, I couldn't understand what you said.
on the Zoom isn't detecting the camera, so I need to join from my phone. I may do that.
Okay, well, the phone would have a camera on it. You're not on your phone now, are you?
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
So you should have a camera on.
It's not detecting it though, so we're gonna we'll have a plan B. That's what business owners do, right? We pivot.
Okay, you're breaking up and we can't really understand. Well, I couldn't understand.
I couldn't understand.
Okay. We can't understand what you're saying. And then we can't see you yet.
Okay, hold on. I'm not doing it with my phone.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting on her to get on camera, we can go ahead and do the trivia for the book. So, Laws of Wrath by Eric LaSalle. This is book 2 in his series. And the trivia question for this book is, in the book, in the storyline of the book, the butchered body of a cross-dresser is found in a dumpster in a specific area of New York City. What area of New York City is that? So, if you get the answer correct, it's an area of New York City, you win your copy of Laws of Wrath. So, Janelle, if you can turn the sound off on your other device and make sure we don't have cross
Okay.
cross
Oh,
talk.
that's better. Yeah.
That is great. Great picture and sound. Okay, wonderful. So
Yes.
Janelle Brown is the proprietor of Brown's Books and More in Decatur, Alabama. So welcome
Yes.
to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Well,
Excited to
we're
have-
yeah, we are, one of our missions is not only to bring authors on, but bookstores, book clubs, anyone in the industry, because it takes all of the synergy and relationship between all of these different moving parts to make Black literature thrive and be successful. So,
Right.
when did you open your bookstore, Brown? And Brown is your last name, but also Brown could be considered for brown people. So,
Right.
so that's, you had the right name for the right thing.
It worked out pretty good.
So,
But we started in 2018 being online and doing vendor shows. And then the brick and mortar was opened in 2021.
okay.
Okay, so you started off online and then decided to go to brick and mortar. I know, like with Gwen, she started off as a brick and mortar and then went to.
No, we were online first.
Oh, you were online first.
Yeah, so you didn't know about that. We went online in December of 1998.
When you always
We didn't open
surprising
the
us.
store till 2000. So, and then we had it for 10 years. So, well, we started off online too, because that's in a way, that's how you get your following. But what we found, and this was in the early days of the internet, our market was everywhere. So most of the people we were selling to weren't where we were. They were all over.
Mhm.
So, but we were able to, build a good following. And now, where is Decatur, Alabama? in
So
relation.
Decatur is a
uh,
metro of Huntsville.
okay.
It's about 25 miles outside of Huntsville.
Okay. So what's the population? What size city is it?
I think it's around 40,000,
Okay. So
and
it's not
Huntsville is
tiny, but it's not huge.
correct.
And are you the only black owned bookstore in town?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I
Awesome.
think really in North Alabama, as far as having a brick and mortar, we're the only one. Um, and I think there's maybe one in maybe Central Alabama. So it's only like two, I think maybe two or three of us in the entire state.
Well, that's
Okay.
great because that actually gives your bookstore a chance to kind of be that community meeting place, so to speak.
Oh, for sure. Like we have people come up from Mobile, which is South Alabama, to do their book signings, Birmingham, Montgomery, all over. So we're like the hub.
Mm. Okay. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of and you mentioned that you have people who come in for book signings. So do you do book signings pretty often at your store?
Pretty often. We have at least um I'll say at least one a month, but pretty often.
Now you opened during COVID, before we came out of COVID. Um, so what impact did that have on your opening the store? Positive or negative, or what made you open in the midst of COVID?
Well, opportunity, because a lot of people decided to close their doors during COVID. So right at the end, there was a lot of rental spaces that came available. So it was really opportunity.
Okay, well,
Makes sense.
it does, and then you have to. Sometimes that's the best time when people, your renters, well, no, the landlords, they're motivated
You're
to
right.
to do deals.
Yeah. So it kind of worked out. But we took over for during COVID, but we really didn't open until we were given, the where people can go out in public. So we were free and
Okay,
clear open, but we still open and we had on masks. That was the norm.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Now, do you specialize in a certain type of book, or are you pretty much selling across the board, or who is your target audience? Who comes into your store?
My target audience are the grannies, the good grandmothers that buy the children the books and, love to stay home and read. So that's my target audience. We have mostly used books. It's probably like an 80-20 split, just because I know I have to keep my numbers at a certain level
Yeah.
for my area.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So
Okay.
so do you find yourself, you said you find yourself selling a lot of children's books then? Does that take a pretty good percentage of your shelf space?
No, it's all equal because I sell mostly, brown and black books, but I cover all genre of the books. But the children's books probably move the fastest. The children's books and the conscious books. So
Now, so of course we talk about COVID, but we also know that that was kind of the launching year for Black Lives Matter.
mhm.
And so a lot of people were buying conscious type books. So did you find yourself um kind of having an explosion of those types of books, and then maybe it just kind of kept going from there?
Of course, but what's so funny about the conscious books is that a lot of non-black people buy them.
Yes.
So you would think it would be the reverse, but it's not. But yeah, the conscious books, they kind of stay pretty steady, resulting from COVID and pandemic and all of that.
So now, are you full time with your store?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay, that's
okay.
great. So, what's your background? What made you
My,
go into
my
entrepreneurship?
background is actually finance. I'm a banker.
Oh,
I'm in treasury. So I left corporate America about a career about 18 years, and just had the opportunity to open the bookstore, just from that passion of our test scores are so low in the area. It's to the point where the Hispanic students, their test scores are higher than Black students. And the English is their second language. So it's definitely a need there. So that's kind of how it was birthed.
So sometimes, so was this something that you thought about while you were banking? Were you sitting at the bank branch for years and waiting till the right time to open your bookstore?
I was.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's how it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So now, were you already planning on opening a bookstore and then the opportunity came and you just jumped on it then, or did the opportunity come and you said, hey, why don't I just open a bookstore?
No, I was already planning to open a bookstore, but it's hard in my area to find affordable rent.
Yes.
So that's where the online and the vending spaces, it's a ton of us vendors out there just because we can't afford to be in a brick and mortar. So it was just an opportunity that came and I jumped on it. But the plan was to always have a bookstore.
Okay. So did you do like pop-up shops?
Yes.
Is that what you did? Because a lot of people get started like that.
Yeah, so the pop-up shop was books, but books are heavy, so you can't take a lot. So the pop-up started with Black art gifts, something that especially for women and church ladies, something to make us feel better, something to give us hope, and a little bit of inspiration and aspiration. So that was my main thing, were children's book and Black art gifts. So that's how I got started, with like Shades of Color, African American Expression, all those inspiring things.
Okay. I'm familiar with both of those for many years because when we had our brick and mortar, we sold a lot of their products.
Yeah.
Both of them. And we still sell calendars online.
Right.
We still have our online. We sell calendars as far as products. That's one of the things that we sell other than our own branded items that we actually produce. But we stopped selling the books online. We promote books and then people can go wherever to buy them. But we were
that helps with
them.
overhead. But yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. There was another company that used to, but then it was before you, but they sold more of the figurines and that kind of stuff, which kind of fell out of popularity. But they were very popular in the 2000s.
I guess I'm an old soul because I still like figurines. I know you can't see my office right now, but I have figurines all over this office.
Yeah, they used to be really hot in the 2000s. It was a company called Sandy, and they did all of Annie Lee's. They licensed all of her stuff, and they had not just figurines. They had bathroom stuff, all kinds of artifacts, and that was really hot in the 2000s. That and what else was hot? Oh, Thomas Blackshear used to sell his figurines. I don't know if he still does.
Blackshear piece in my living room. See,
yeah, I have one too.
I'm a figurine girl.
They were more high end. They were like 300 or like in that range. They were very beautiful work though.
Yeah, I paid about people.
Yeah, they don't buy the. I stopped selling the figurines before the pandemic, so mostly I do now are the calendars. But we just don't have the people that that are in. Well, I think more of the grannies don't buy them because they feel as if their kids don't care. But the people that know Black figurines, they got them in the case. They still love them. They make sure they're dust, but I don't sell those anymore.
Yeah, it's a season for everything. And that was
it is.
That was the 2000s. That and stage plays on DVD. That was something else that was very hot during
bootleg DVD.
2000s. Well, we bought them from their source.
You bought the real ones.
Bootleg. Yeah.
I did too. And I actually think I still have some. I'm pretty sure I do, but I think I had, how you wanted to have the whole collection,
Yes. They were popular. But like I say, there's a season for everything.
It is.
And now there's a lot of conscious clothing. Lots of different t-shirts that have different sayings on them. and clothing with African print clothing and more fashion forward
Yeah.
African print clothing. So everything has a season.
So now when it comes to the books that you put on your shelf, do you find yourself doing more local authors or independent authors or national authors, or is it a combination of the two?
It's a combination of the two. Of course, it depends on how well the local author markets themselves, how well it sells. But as far as overall store, it's more national. But then I love local authors, so they always have a spot. Like if you come to my store, you're gonna recognize some names, in your community, and that's on purpose.
That's awesome. So now let's say an independent author does want to sell through your store. I know at one time consignment was pretty popular. Give me 5 books, and if they sell, I'll give you the money for the 5 books. But I know a lot of bookstores are going toward charging a certain fee to the author. So basically, the author is paying for shelf space. So, or do you just only purchase through a distributor?
So when I first started, I did consignment, but I just don't have time now. And keeping up with the sales, and I just don't have the time. So now the consignment I have are the people that like the best sellers that people come in every month, not every, once a year or something like that. So it's like the best sellers. Just because I can't give the author the full attention it needs. So now if an independent author wants to come on, I let them know, hey, I'll put you on the website. We'll do, I'll read it and do some reviews and do posts. And then if they purchase on the website, I'll notify you. That way there's no money being held out on any of our pockets. So that's what I offer them. And usually they like that because, they can at least direct somebody to a website besides Amazon to purchase their book. And then I always offer them a book signing or a book celebration.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the thing about some authors don't understand about consignment. And I'm an author too, but I was a bookstore owner before I was an author, so I understood the dynamics of it. But if there's no real buzz to make the books move, one, they're not gonna move. And then if you're just collecting books and you have to keep a record of the books that come in, and if one sells or whatever, that's time, that's labor, and time is money. And so the way that you're doing it, it makes more sense for both parties, because that way you're not having to utilize shelf space. But big companies pay for shelf space, like in the grocery store and in retail. Large companies, they pay for certain shelf space positioning. So paying for shelf space is a common thing in retail.
Right.
Because
but they have that foot traffic versus we're like, hey, please come read this book.
They do.
And that foot traffic is there.
Right.
Versus we're having to explain why it's so great for you to read, or why you need to read, versus somebody just walking up on, So it's a difference. We work hard,
I know.
Yeah.
And see, that's why authors need to understand, self-published authors and those with big, publishers. They need to drive sales. They need to promote the book. They need to be out there talking about it, doing different things.
Right.
So
you can't expect to write a book and they will.
To create demand.
Yeah. I give that speech every time. They'll say, I want to have a book signing. Make sure you tell people.
They think
that's
if
your
they build
baby.
it, they will come. But that doesn't work.
Well, I also think that, and I made the mistake when I first became an author as well. I thought that, okay, I'm going to have a book signing. I'm going to just take advantage of all of the traffic that's going to come to the bookstore that day. And the problem with that is if the bookstore is having a slow day, you're not selling any books.
Correct.
And even if they're having a pretty good day, if the customers never heard of you, sometimes they're not going to stop at your table. So they're going to say, oh, you're having a book signing? That's nice. And then they'll keep on walking. So you've got to be able to create some type of a buzz. maybe do a press release and send it to the local community paper.
Right.
With social media, you know, try to target your ads. Let people know that you're coming. Find a way to let
Right.
people know that you're coming. I mean, I host events, and I used to go through the same thing, where the author would want to be a part of the event, and they leave it up to me. And Gwen could attest this as well. You know, they leave it up to the promoter,
Mm-hmm.
who's busy doing everything else, getting the event set up and doing everything else. Now we got to promote you too.
Yeah,
Right.
putting out 15 flyers.
Yeah. Especially when you don't know the product. I mean, you know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I try to explain to people, if you only have one book and you're not known, and the book is more than likely a memoir type book, then it's just not going to sell that much. A lot of people think, okay, I write a book, and they just think sales are automatic. They don't understand the whole dynamic. They just, and if you want to write a book, I say write the book, and at least you have the book that you want, even if a lot of people don't buy it. I think the average number of books sold by self-published authors is like 250 copies. The
Mhm.
average book published by a self-published author sells 250 copies. So
Okay.
there's not going to sell 1,000,000 copies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not your first book or your second or third. A lot of times it's the fifth book, the 10th book. You know, it's not something that you can just do a one-off and think you're going to set the world on fire. That's just not the way any of it works. But
Right.
hope springs eternal, and people will continue to believe that, because a lot of people who publish a book for the first time, they aren't in the book world.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not in the literary world, so they don't even understand it. They just know they wanted to do a book. They want to write a
Right.
book, and so. But that's the nature of the beast. And so, what would you say is one of the most exciting things about being a bookstore owner, and one of the most challenging things?
The most exciting thing is, I would say, the customers, because what we try to do at the bookstore is create community. So it's more than just a bookstore. You know, it's sort of like a Walmart, where if you go in there, you're gonna see somebody that you know. And then plus we have a cafe, a smoothie bar there as
Okay.
well. So that's helpful. That was when I first opened bookstore owner. You know, he told me I have to balance the seasons. You know, nobody's reading, you know, in the summer, so you got to have something for people in the summer. So the most exciting thing are the customers, just because, especially little kids. We have little kids that come in and they look around and they cry, you know, because even though this is 2024, there are some kids that have never been in the bookstore that says, this a library? It's like the school, no, it's a bookstore. You know, so that's very rewarding. Um, the most challenging thing is explaining how important books are, why Black authors matter, you know, the relatability, explaining that, you know, we perish because we lack knowledge. And this book is knowledge. So that's the hardest part.
Okay. Well, your bookstore is called Brown Books and More, or is it Brown's Books?
Brown.
Brown. Okay, Brown Books and More.
Yeah.
And
Put your website in chat as well.
it's in Decatur, Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and which is not that far from Huntsville.
Huntsville. Yeah. So Huntsville, I think now is like the #1 city in the country that people are moving to in the
Is
nation. So
it?
yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
move from your
And the
farm.
thing about our bookstore,
Oh,
it's a book for everyone, especially in multicultural diverse books. But we have customers of all backgrounds, so
okay.
that buy, just because I try to have a diverse selection of books, even
Mm-hmm.
though I specialize in, you know, a certain segment. I have all books, so
Well,
it's pretty rewarding.
that's good. And Huntsville, is that where it's a major auto plant recently opened, like not too long ago, like Toyota or somebody like that?
Mazda
Okay.
Toyota. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's like we have the Redstone Arsenal, so that's a major army base here. So we
Okay.
get, I think the FBI just moved their command to Huntsville, Alabama. So it's a military place, and it's
Okay.
the largest city in Alabama right now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we've driven through there on road trips because uh our daughter was, I'm in Houston, but our daughter was in school in North Carolina, and my
Oh,
family was in North Carolina. So we used to drive. If we go the southern route, we would be going that way, and we would see that
yeah,
factory or the plant, the Toyota, is
yeah,
huge. It's like
yes,
humongous. You see it off of the highway. It's off the
yeah.
interstate, so you can really see it. So that's great. Well, Janelle, thank you for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV. Congratulations on your bookstore,
Thank you.
and we hope 2024 is a banner year for you.
Yes, thank you, and thanks again for having me.
Well, thank you
Okay.
for being here and best wishes to you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.